Jamie Spears continues to be the worst, but somehow continues to win for himself. Britney Spears settles with dad, gets nothing. She's paying his attorney's fees.
I'm just not really sure how her dad manages to sleep at night.
So it's case closed in what appears to be a stunning victory for Jamie Spears.
Britney Spears is mad at her attorney, Matthew Rosengart, after paying him $4 million. It seems like he's jumped to the wrong side of everything, and he's let her father, Jamie Spears, get away with his crimes. He's also agreed that Britney should pay her dad's legal fees. So now she's got to pay Jamie Spears $2 million to secure her freedom. This is a bad case and a bad deal for Britney. So let's get into it. If you aren't subscribed to the Let's Get Into It podcast, then you're only getting half the tea. For longer videos, deep dives, and of course, more of me, subscribe to the Let's Get Into It podcast listed in the description below. Now, I respect that Britney Spears genuinely likes her lawyer, Matthew Rosengart, but I must admit that it's a little bit sketchy that her father, Jamie Spears, who clearly did a lot of things wrong, is walking away without any repercussions. Because Britney Spears has settled with her dad, she gets nothing, and she's paying his attorney fees. So this nasty attorney that has been sitting in the courtroom trying to stretch out this court case is getting a big paycheck from Britney, and it's really another way that Britney's father has extorted her for money, in my opinion. Reports write that Britney Spears' legal team was fighting to keep their client from having to pay her father's legal bills, mainly on the basis that Jamie had allegedly misused his authority as Britney's conservator. Keep in mind, as a conservator, he had a paycheck, which is not allowed. He earned like $6 million as her conservator, and I didn't really think it was a job position, but clearly it was, because they worked her to her breaking point. So Britney and her father, Jamie Spears, have put this battle to an end. It's been going on for about 2 years, and it was a major dispute over the legal fees, which, I mean, I can see why Britney was so frustrated. She's paid this man so much. He's made so much money off of her. Does he really need a pay cut right here? I mean, can't he use the money that he's made off of her to pay off his lawyer? Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ the case has quietly settled and Britney is furious. We're told her lawyer, Matthew Rosengart, assured her that she had a solid case, but in the end, she's paying Jamie's legal bills, which we're told amount to more than $2 million. And while this marks a significant step to closure for Britney Spears, I mean, she's no longer in the courtroom dealing with her father, it's a big payout. I mean, $2 million is not cheap. I would be fighting to the death to make sure I'm not paying that.
How dare you, Mr. Spears? You had me fooled. And you too, Mrs. Spears. Death to all of them.
Now, of course, Matthew Rosengart is happy about this because he feels like he got the job done, but where's the justice? Matthew stated, as she desired, Britney's freedom now includes that she will no longer need to attend or be involved in court or entangled with legal proceedings in this matter. So yeah, she didn't want to deal with the legal issues, but she also told the judge she will go after her father for abuse. I mean, conservatorship abuse. Shouldn't he be criminally charged for this, like by the police? Matthew also tried to switch up the narrative by boasting about some of the wins that Britney has had. Which I get it, dude. You did a good job. You got her out of the conservatorship on like record timing. But at the same time, the battle was not over. He said Britney Spears won when the court suspended her father, and Britney won when her fundamental rights and civil liberties were restored. I mean, at that point, I don't even think it really was a win. Those things were so overdue. A win would be to see this man criminally charged for the crime he had committed. I mean, don't you guys remember, like, she was being recorded, cameras, microphones, like, watched. Like, there's a lot of layers to this. I'm just surprised that Matthew's like, closed up the book. I'm a big winner. Britney's happy. No, she's not happy. She's furious.
Jamie Spears continues to be the worst, but somehow continues to win for himself. Anytime a story about Britney Spears comes out, I just get angrier and angrier. TMZ reporting Britney Spears settles with dad, gets nothing. She's paying his attorney's fees. Yeah, you read and heard that right. So it's case closed in what appears to be a stunning victory for Jamie Spears yet again.
You guys can probably tell I'm a little bit uncomfortable with this. I mean, I feel like we could have done more, especially because Matthew Rosengart made like $4 million from Britney. So this whole legal issue to get out of this conservatorship and to win back her like civil rights, cost her like $6 million. I mean, freedom isn't cheap, I guess. I mean, come on, Matthew. You alleged that Jamie mishandled and fleeced the estate while he was her conservator. It's not common that a conservator is discharged as someone's caretaker. And, you know, the fact that Jamie was just kind of shows that if he's not willing to be discharged as the conservator, I mean, he's clearly done something wrong. And I feel like the probate court or even the state of California should go after him criminally. I mean, when you hear about like domestic violence, like usually if the partner who was harmed was like, you know, I don't want to press charges, well, the state will take it into their own hands because they recognize this crime. Why would this not be considered some form of domestic violence? I also want to remind you guys that it's more than just Jamie Spears. It's also TriStar Sports Entertainment, which they scare me a little bit, but they were really able to weasel their way out of this, and the story was so much bigger. So I am curious to, like, I mean, can you imagine if Britney wrote a second book and really told us about these people and what they had done to her? I mean, I feel like in her original book, she wanted to include more, but we didn't, because there are people who have power in this industry.
I can't believe what I just read, but I shouldn't be in shock because I feel like we all expected this to happen. Mind you, Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill were supposed to be sitting down for a deposition, which also never happened. What's so sad about all of this is that Britney Spears was in a position where she could have taken down so many people in this industry, and we all believed that it wasn't going to happen, that maybe Jamie would have been the fall guy, and even then, that didn't happen. At this point, the only hope we have of these two being taken down is through P. Diddy.
To sum it up on Matthew Rosengart, he gave this statement to Fox saying, "We repeat our gratification for being in a position to help restore the civil rights and liberties of Britney Spears and the honor and privilege it's been to serve and protect her." He mentions obtaining her goals and resolving various legal matters. Okay, I mean, I think it could have been resolved a little bit better, Mr. Rosengart. Also, I don't think like Jamie Spears had the most, you know, intense lawyer. I mean, I thought Rosengart was really a shark, not someone who would bend over to Alex, you know, the sloppy lawyer who Jamie had hired and who really successfully pushed this case way longer than it needed to be. Now, there are some mixed reactions to this news because a lot of people like myself thought maybe eventually Jamie Spears would be behind bars, which I know sounds a little intense, but he committed crimes. And, you know, even though he's not in the best health, there needs to be some type of like acknowledgement that other people can't get away with this. This person tweeted, "Hopefully Britney can move forward and in good health." Another person wrote, "Let's let Britney take some time to process everything. She was in a conservatorship for 13 years, then locked in a legal battle since she was freed in 2021. She hasn't been freed mentally and emotionally from these people for 17 years, so let's support her." Just Love Godney tweeted that Jamie is officially discharged. It begs the question of whether he still had control. It's rhetorical. LLC docs still show his name and his replacement for Lou has been in power. Quote, "His bond is exonerated" means that they won't accuse him of any wrongdoing. So he really got away from any issues. And keep in mind, he built himself like, I guess, like a brand while being with Britney. I mean, it's called Britney brand, but he essentially built companies and LLCs under his name using Britney's identity, her likeness, just her day-to-day career, because he really had the last say and so much control over her. It's not like she was in the business meetings. He was in those meetings and making sure his name was on everything, as well as Lou Taylor's. This person tweeted that Jamie Spears should have to pay back the money that he stole from Britney during the conservatorship. I agree. This person questioned, is Britney Spears at risk of bankruptcy with the current stated net worth? I mean, a millionaire person has a lot of expenses per year. What about broken contracts? I hope she has a net worth that hasn't been made public. This hell has to end. May she remain victorious over them all. Another person tweeted and asked a good question. How is this good? No one is going to jail. Where is her money? Is she going to federal court? But this person, Mike, sees the bright side. He says, "This is wonderful news. I still hope Lucifer, aka Lou Taylor, and Robin Greenhill, and the rest of the team conservatorship get what they deserve for what they put her through. But I hope this good news brings Britney some good stress relief." And maybe it would give her some stress relief that the legal battle's over, but now she's got $6 million to cough up.
Honestly, I hope there's a place in hell reserved for Britney Spears' father. Of course, Britney is now free from all court obligations and having to face her dad and finally just embrace her freedom. I'm just not really sure how her her dad manages to sleep at night. The settlement means that Britney and her father don't have to go to trial together over this. And honestly, perhaps this is what Britney wanted, because this has been going on for years and I'm sure she just wants to get the away from her father. If you've not read Britney's book, it is an absolutely heartbreaking tale of everything she's been through. And although it feels incredibly unfair that she has to pay her father even more money after everything he's already made off of her, I really hope she finally feels free and happy to embrace life and do whatever the wants. Britney forever.
This case officially settled in April, but back in February, it seemed like they were willing to keep it going. In February, it seemed like their legal battle was going to go on for a lot longer. Actually, Jamie Spears claimed at the time that it was Britney's doing in new documents. I've been blaming Jamie Spears and his lawyer Alex for pushing out this case, and I do think they are at fault, but Jamie's trying to blame Britney. Jamie wrote in legal filings obtained by the Blast that his daughter had been using all the stall tactics to draw out the case. He urged the judge overseeing the case not to grant a stay-in case, which could lead to a continuance that would postpone trial until a later date. Essentially, Jamie just wants this case to end. He indicated that he and Britney were unlikely to resolve their issues after spending more than 2 years without coming to an agreement. And it's not just these new legal fees that Britney's responsible for paying. She also had to pay some old bills that were left over from the conservatorship, including her father's salary. So he's still getting all of the money that he had been taking from her and some, and his lawyer and Matthew Rosengart. Everybody's getting a big payout and Britney's not getting a damn thing.
Jamie is thrilled over all of this. He regrets the irresponsible and specious allegations made against him in public. It's interesting, however, just because a lot of people are upset that she still had to pay the her father's legal fees after all the money that was drained, after everything in terms of that. Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs of this, so it's going to be interesting. But again, it still shows that just when a conservatorship ends, it's not just or somebody's freed from it. In this case, it's not just over. There's still the financial draining. There's still the estate. It can go on for years and years and years. And I think that we need to be having that conversation.
I am curious to whether one day we will see some justice in Britney's case, or if it's going to have to take another celebrity being in this type of situation for the operations or the secret industry of conservatorships and taking these rich people or celebrities and milking them for all they're worth. I mean, until that's really exposed and over with, I feel like the courthouse, the Stanley Mosque courthouse, and everyone else involved in the probate court, they're just like all part of the problem. It's problematic. There's so much money in it, and I question everything. As you guys know, we've talked in previous videos that Britney has been out and about with her man, Paul, who I've heard stories come out about. I've heard that his ex-baby mama is out here speaking. He's got a lot of kids. He's very absent. Britney's like swooned by him, even though her friends are saying that he's bad news. So there's a lot when it comes to Britney and this situation. If you have not checked out my previous videos, definitely go and check those out. And we're keeping a close eye on Britney because we want to make sure she's okay. Girl, if you need a safe place to go, I don't, just kidding. I mean, she lives closer to Trisha Paytas. She go to Trisha Paytas' house. Trisha would be like, welcome, like, please. She just needs to hide out and like not be around anyone who's a bad influence. But yeah, poor Britney. Hope she's okay. But I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.